know if Bib's a new because my what's it called?
Still
All of
live.
us have our Twitter handles, and I got my Reddit handle. So I
I put it together pretty quickly with the initials.
yeah.
All right. So we're streaming, we're recording. I'm gonna do the intro separately for the podcast version though, so we can get going whenever y'all are
You're
ready.
saying this is staged?
This is staged, yeah. Bibbs, how are you?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm about to sit down to this food, so if you hear some like crunching
That's
or
all good.
some moaning, if
No,
it's
that's
good,
That's all fine. All right, so jumping right into it. I'm gonna describe what this podcast is before we even start talking about it. So the people already know what it is. So I'm gonna explain it to y'all. It's pretty self-explanatory, especially to y'all. Y'all definitely know. Basically, what I'm doing is over the next week or couple weeks, the trade hold is supposed to be lifted on November 15th. Well, Sunday, November 15th, and I hope that holds up. As far as I know, that's when the trade hold is going to be lifted. If not, it'll be the next day. And then the draft is on Wednesday the 18th. Free agency officially starts on 6 p.m. November 20th, which is a Friday. Today, I am joined. I'm gonna get sappy here. All right, I'm gonna get a little sappy. I'm not the most personable guy. I'm not the most emotional guy. But if it weren't for at Bibbs Corner, the host of the Bibbs Corner podcast, which he's been hosting the GOAT series, I've only finished the first 2 episodes, so I don't know who the top 25 greatest players in NBA history are, but I know who the 50 through 26 best players are. I'm joined today by at Bibbs Corner, and then I'm also joined by everyone's favorite Mavs scout. For the visual medium, I have a magazine held up right here for Mavs Draft, at Mavs Draft, and of MavsDraft.com. He has a magazine, or he has an article in a magazine from the Hardwood magazine, at Hardwood Herald, I believe. So definitely check that out. You can get the digital magazine. How much is it, Richie?
I think it was $7.
$7 for the digital edition of the magazine. He wrote all about the sleepers, and then we have a friend who wrote about what did Hawks nerd write about? We had a Hawks nerd also, but anyway, that's not important. So basically with this series, I'm going to be discussing with a wait whoa. Okay, I'm going to be discussing a bunch of different trades with a bunch of different people throughout Mavs Twitter or NBA Twitter in general. On this episode, I picked Bibbs and Magic because not only are they the nicest and some of the smartest, brilliant minds of NBA Twitter, they also have stake in teams in the Southeastern Division, which is the conference the division we're trading with today. So people that don't know Mavs Draft, he is a Magic fan. Maybe he didn't want me to tell you that, but he is a Magic fan. And then people that don't know Bibbs, he is somewhere in one of the Carolinas. I'll let him tell y'all which one if he wants
I'm
to.
gonna guess South. I'm gonna guess
North, so we got a 50-50 chance. So I have the Hornets, the Heat, the Wizards, and the Hawks, and the Magic, all having a trade with the Mavericks in this episode. So Bibbs, go ahead and tell us all about the GOAT series.
Oh man, yeah. So the GOAT series, I first of all, thank you for inviting me over to this. Definitely
anytime.
Appreciate it. But no, for the GOAT series, basically, I came up with a formula to determine, the greatest players of all time. I tried to set it up so that dominating your era got you closer to the top of the list. So for me, I wanted to be fair across eras. You played against who you played against. The rules were what the rules were at your time. I did come up with some stuff to kind of make the guys that in the modern era get a little bit more credit because there's more teams and things like that. But, the GOAT series, I did the top 50 players of all time. I think it came out pretty great, actually. My biases were erased, but most guys ended up about where I expected them to be. The full series is out on the podcast. That's the Bibbs Corner podcast already. And as of 30 minutes ago, 52, because I ended up having to spill over a little bit, but 52 down to number 11 are all on the website in the written format. So definitely check those out as well. I got pictures and video of some of these guys that you probably never even heard of before. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been very eye-opening for me. I've learned a lot about the game.
Awesome, man. So yeah, I'll have that. I'll have that in the description for the YouTube and for the podcast people as well. I'll have that. I'll have that link for you in the description. And Mavs Draft. How are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing all right. I'm ready. I'm just ready for this draft to be over. Dude.
Yeah. We got what? We got 8 days. A week from tomorrow. Today is Tuesday the 10th.
I've never downloaded, so first of all, I didn't even know, Bibbs and I shared a Synergy subscription last year, and we had no clue that you could download every game. I found I found out in May of this year where someone was like, I just found it on Synergy, and I'm like, hold up. You've been telling me I've been just paying for the stats, and I had no idea. Dude, I've abused it. I've absolutely abused it. Today I downloaded Dayton versus Drake. I don't think I even need to say anything else about where I am. So that's where I am, mentally. I'm ready for live basketball, and Bibbs, if you're down to get back into it, we can use it for the 21 draft, which is a much better investment.
They got the Cunningham kid, right?
Yeah, Cade Cunningham is going to be the number 1 pick. Almost, there's almost no way he isn't. It's stacked top to bottom.
Yeah. Okay, I'll definitely let you know about that. I'll definitely let you know. I'm about to do a cram session because I haven't looked at any prospects since March when I started school. So I'm about to do a cram session over the next week on these guys. So.
Hey, if you need a quick version, and I don't mean this to come across as cocky, but I've pretty much done a video, something or other, on almost every prospect via Twitter. If you just type in Mavs Draft and then the prospect's last name, you'll find something for just about everyone. The only one who I think I don't have is Poku, because I just don't know where to find his games.
So, I think I had him. I think I might have gotten some YouTube videos, but I think they're old and probably is a different player today.
I see plenty of Poku on YouTube. Anyways, guys, we're not talking about the draft. Well, you can bring up the draft in
what?
I know, right? I brought 3 of the best eyes and 2 of the best scouting eyes I know, besides a few other people, to discuss trades. Most of these trades, though, involve one of the picks, so I don't know how willing you are to shed off of them. But
I might cry in the middle of this, but
you might cry.
Okay.
All right, so since you're already crying, let's go ahead and start with the Orlando Magic.
What?
Right? Oh, we could start with someone else.
No,
okay,
let's do it.
So wait.
To cry.
So no, actually, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense because I could not find any trades for the Heat. They have players I want, but their cap situation is almost so identical to ours, where they have players coming off of contract and then all the players getting signed, like Bam Adebayo. You don't know where exactly they're going to be signed, but Bam Adebayo is going to get an extension. Unless they trade for Giannis, there's no way Bam's not getting that extension. So every other team I was able to find almost 2 trades except for Washington. So if y'all could make a trade with the Heat, is there one y'all see? Because I'm not seeing it.
The best I could do is DeLon for Kelly Olynyk, but I don't think they do that.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they do that. That's around where I was getting with the Heat as well.
Interesting.
There are some sign and trade possibilities. Everyone in the Mavs organization wants Goran Dragic, but with sign and trades and with the MLE the way it is this year specifically, I don't see why there's any reason why Dragic doesn't return. He spent the last 5 years of his career in Miami, and arguably they've been 5 of the best years of his career. So I really don't see for Dragic why there's a reason to leave. But yeah, right for Olynyk makes sense for us. I'm not sure if it makes too much sense for Miami. What do you think, Bibbs?
The only guys I like off of Miami's roster are Jay and Goran, and like you said, they're both free agents. So if we can get them in a sign and trade to save money somehow, then that would help us, but it doesn't help Miami. So
yeah, it would have to be in a 3-team deal. So yeah, I'm glad we got that one out of the way because Washington. All right, bear with me, but if we trade everybody on our roster. Besides Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka Doncic, and Kristaps Porzingis, we are able to trade everyone else, including Tim Hardaway, assuming he opts in 10 days, 6 days. Assuming Tim Hardaway opts in 6 days, we'll be able to afford to trade every single other person on our roster for John Wall and Bradley Beal. Obviously, Bradley Beal is an all-NBA talent, and that trade doesn't really make too much sense for Washington, but if John Wall is being used as a tax in a Bradley Beal trade, there's no reason why we can't jump in and take both. Because from what I've seen from Bradley Beal and all these Twitter open gym videos, John Wall looks like John Wall. So I'm definitely not opposed to more. I think the Mavs need more East and West playmaking as opposed to North and South, but I don't really think we're in a position to, be greedy. So yeah, that I have those are my two craziest trades is the Heat for nothing really, and then I have Bradley Beal and John Wall for everyone on our roster, not including DFS, Luka and KP. What do y'all think about that?
I think the Wizards have to throw in a pick. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, I have one of our picks being included in this, which we have 18 and 31. If you haven't heard,
I think somebody actually sent me almost that exact trade. I did like a trade extravaganza thing on the podcast. I think somebody literally sent me that, and I feel like I laughed for about 20 minutes. At the idea for either side. But if for whatever reason they just don't want to deal with John Wall anymore, it'd be hard to turn that down.
Yeah, absolutely. So from what I've seen, I don't know if y'all have seen the videos, but John Wall looks amazing. He looks like he didn't tear his Achilles and his ACL, less than a year ago. From all the videos I've seen of open gym, granted, he is playing against the likes of KD, who's probably not going super hard right now. He's playing against Drummond, who, everyone on Mavs Twitter likes to say he doesn't really play defense. He's playing against Sekou. He's playing against Capella. I don't really know if that's and if it's not any of those guys, it's just a bunch of guys they got off the street. I definitely would do this trade just because I would love to see a bunch of people on Mavs Twitter's heads spin around and pop with steam. But those are the two crazy trades. I just want to get them out of the way. Y'all have any comments on the Heat or Washington?
Let me look at Washington real quick.
Those two are pretty tough.
The only player, because the weird thing with Washington is like everybody is either a free agent, young, or just is Bradley Beal or John Wall. And then you also Ish Smith. And it's like, they're not going to trade Troy Brown. They probably won't, the Mavs aren't going to trade for Ish Smith. That's just not a guy you trade for. And then same with Mo Wagner. And then same with, I'm blanking.
Thomas Bryant.
Jerome Robinson, I might have said him already. Thomas Bryant's about as
Thomas Bryant is
the only guy I'd be interested in.
Yeah,
but I don't even know if the Mavs could do it. It would probably take Brunson and a pick, and the contracts, of course.
Which I'm not willing to do Brunson and a pick for.
See, I would probably
Robinson.
do it, but do you really need an offensive-minded five? It's just it doesn't.
No,
they don't
we
fit
don't.
anything with us.
No, we definitely don't need an offensive five. I'm still down for Thomas Bryant. I wanted him last offseason. And there's still a couple moves I would make. I've seen Ish Smith kill us for like 10 years now, but I don't think he's good as a Mav. I think he's good against the Mavs. All right, so we're gonna get a little more even kill. We're gonna get a little more realistic here with these trades. I have the Hawks, the Hornets, and the Magic left. Y'all both have stake in the Hornets and Magic, so I want to save that for last. But there's a name, and I've only seen one Hawks trade for us so far, and it was Lauren Gunn. She posted on Mavs Moneyball that the John Collins trades is possible, and I like the John Collins idea. I just feel, and I'm down to do this. I just feel like we would have to give up literally all of our assets to get him, and I would do it 100% no matter what. But at the same time, other teams can give up their assets, which we have great assets, we have good assets. Some teams have great assets, and I just don't believe there's a realistic path towards John Collins as much as I would love it. However, there is a guy, last trade deadline, that Atlanta acquired named Clint Capella, who all Mavs fans should know because he absolutely demolished us as a Houston Rocket when we didn't have any big men. I have this trade as straight up Tim Hardaway Jr. for Clint Capella. Now, I love Tim Hardaway. I think last year was his best year. The only knock on him, and I think he plays decent enough defense. The only knock on his game that I have is the fact that he only shot 1.5 free throws per game last year. I think someone who shoots at his clip and who he made 15.6 points per game last year. Someone who shoots at his clip, someone who has the athletic ability of Tim Hardaway Jr. should be able to get to the line a lot more. The only way I would want to get rid of that is if we could get rim running and rim protection, which is exactly what Clint Capella provides.
Cool.
And it's on a pretty team-friendly deal. What would you all do to make a Clint Capella trade work? Because Clint Capella gets 16 million, 18 million, and 20 million for the next 3 years. So I have Tim Hardaway straight up this year, and then we'll figure out the other two, is what I have here.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, it's hard to say what they want for him because, one, big men are just in general hard to figure out the value because you can, on one hand, get Anthony Davis, who obviously is an exception, but and then you can also get Andre Drummond, who, like, is obviously a good player and it's just a literal salary dump. So yeah. I never know how to gauge those guys. I mean, if they were willing to take DeLon, I mean, if all they wanted was like the 18th pick, because I don't think it's a secret the Hawks want more picks this year.
Right.
I don't know. He hasn't played a game for them. Like, how invested
exactly.
are they? You know?
Yeah.
Like, how invested can you be in a guy who hasn't touched the floor for your team?
Plus, I mean, they have I don't know Dwayne Dedman's contract off the top of my head. I know, shocker, but
it's not fun. It's
a lengthy deal.
13.
It's 13.
Yeah, multiple years.
Through 2022.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 13 for 2 years. So I mean, you're already paying, a center who's not even half as good the same amount. I would take Capella for Tim Hardaway straight
John
up.
Collins is there. Like they probably are willing to dump Clint Capella.
Yeah, which that's the thing. Like I agree with you, Bibbs, but I haven't seen anyone talking about that. Like, and from what I've heard from Hawks people is they're not exactly married to him. So I would take on Clint Capella in a heartbeat because Clint Capella with KP next to him protecting the rim. Clint Capella is a better switch defender than KP, so KP could stay down low. Clint Capella could guard, switch defend, and rim protect. So, I mean, the only way that you could get me to come off of Tim Hardaway Jr. is if you give me a guy like Clint Capella, Miles Turner, a guy who's able to switch defend and rim protect, because we're not really at a shooting deficit. We're more at a defensive deficit. Especially on the perimeter. But yeah, Bibbs, you got anything else on Capella or with Atlanta in general?
No, I definitely would do Capella. I wonder how Mavs Twitter would react to that because anytime you mention trading for a big, it's just a good way to get your mentions blowing up.
Is he gonna clog the lane?
He's probably gonna clog the lane. Like maybe we just need to hire a lot of plumbers. I don't know.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So much clogging going on whenever you mention these players. But
if people got mad about Clint Capella coming here, I wouldn't know what to say. Like, think about how he thrived in Houston. A team that is like the extreme of what Dallas, who's already kind of on an extreme edge. Like, he thrived in Houston. I will be. It wouldn't shock me. I will still be upset though when people get mad if this were to happen, because like Clint Capella would be good.
He's basically Dwight. If you need to sell it to certain people, he's as mobile as Dwight Powell, but he actually can defend the rim too.
Right.
I'm happy you said it, so I didn't have to.
Yeah, literally the difference between them is like Powell can sometimes do a spin.
Yeah, I don't know. And then he might end up falling down on the court.
Yeah, it's just like, why would you not take him?
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, even if they, well, I don't really want Dwayne Dedmon's deal. 13 for 2 more. Yeah, I don't want that. But I would definitely, I would give up 18 and 31 to get in on the Clint Capella sweepstakes. Especially if it meant I could get off of one of DeLon or Dwight, which I don't have that.
The only other thing I can hear people saying is the contract length, but like if they're worried about messing up money for Giannis, but as has been stated several times, if Giannis says I'm coming to Dallas, we will dump whatever we have to dump to get him in Dallas.
Everyone will be off of this roster if we could get Giannis in Dallas, even KP, which we'll save that trade for.
Like if we need to fire Carlisle to afford Giannis, then but no, it's
good. Yeah. I'll save the KP trade for another episode. Anyway, so Bibbs, based out of one of the Carolinas. Soon we're gonna go to a NASCAR race together, and I can't wait. But for now, we're walking in the Spectrum Center, and I'm like, Bibbs, how crazy would it be if we traded Justin Jackson, DeLon Wright, and 18 or 31 for Cody Zeller? I know it doesn't seem like the most glamorous trade, but advanced stats and the eye test I definitely think Cody Zeller is well above average defender, and
you don't have to sell me on it.
Okay, yeah, exactly. He's a well above average defender. It's not the most glamorous trade. You wouldn't think you wouldn't jump out of your seat for. Well, some people wouldn't jump out of their seat for trading for Cody Zeller, but advanced stats show him as one of the best centers in the league in the early parts of last year, and I definitely agree. He's one of the. There's 3 reasons to watch Charlotte basketball last year, and it's Cody Zeller, PJ Washington, and Devontae Graham. So yeah, I think a Jackson Wright and one of our 2 picks trade makes a lot of sense, especially because it's a salary dump and you get an interior force that we've been so desperately needing. But Bibbs, what do you think about that?
I mean, get out of Delon's contract. Get off of. I mean, Justin's a free agent, but I don't have to look at him this year.
He's accepting a team, or we've accepted his team.
He's a free agent after next year. I mean,
yeah.
But like to not have to look at him for another year. Cody's contract is up at 2021 for all the people that like cap space. I think it's a great stopgap, and he could be like a valuable long-term piece. Like if you want to look at Nick Collison with the Thunder when they were trying to make things happen with KD and Westbrook, like just a steady guy who's gonna come out and put up a double-double every night, get in the way on defense. I mean, he takes such a beating. Like he puts his body on the line every single night, like no matter what the score is. And like you said, it's not sexy, but he impacts the game positively.
It's not sexy at all. It's kind of ugly, but still, yeah. He's one of the best defensive centers in the league, and that's not really a premium, but he's there.
And he's a guy like 2021 comes, whatever we do with free agents. He's one of the bigs that we could get that is more likely to take a discounted deal on a extension after the year is up versus like Capella or Drummond or those guys that are probably going to be trying to get paid somewhere.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Capella's got a few years left after his deal.
In his deal, I guess.
I know what you mean. Yeah, he's one of the big men. That's he's not a stretch 5 by any means, but he's definitely going to be looking. He produces more than the common NBA fan would think. Mavs draft. You got any thoughts on the Hornets trade?
Yeah, I mean, like y'all said, I mean, Zeller's really good. I think at the worst, even if the Mavs don't trade for him, I do think that he's a guy that Dallas would probably like to target in 2021 in free agency, because I don't think he's going to make back his contract. Like, what, he's 10 million, something like that, 12 million.
15
I don't know
actually.
if you.
Yeah, he's making
I don't know
quite
if
a
you
buck.
get him. I don't know if he makes that again.
No.
He just. I mean, I just feel like he fits so well with the pick. He's a pick and roll big on both ends. It's always his biggest issue. Always has been health. Like,
Yeah.
I, off the top of my head, I don't know, and I'm Googling this as I'm saying it, but I feel like he hasn't played in 70 games since his rookie year, he hasn't played in 70 games since his third year. This year he was on track to, but in general, like, he's just that, think about how Rick Carlisle uses those bigs in like 20, 25 or so, give or take, minutes. That's Cody Zeller for pretty much his whole career. He's never averaged more than 25, never averaged less than 17. Like, he is exactly what Rick Carlisle wants in a big, and I just feel like he could be a Brandon Wright with less efficiency on offense, because that is literally an all-time number, and better defensively.
Way better defensively.
Like, I don't know. Like, Cody Zeller's anywhere from like 52 to 57% shooter. So from the field, and he can now shoot a little bit. He took a 3 a game this year. He wasn't good at it, but he did it.
3.
Yeah, he took one a game.
No clogging the lane for Cody Zeller. Let's do it.
Yeah, dude, I feel like, I mean, even in going back to Brandon Wright, because obviously they're not 1-to-1, but like pick and roll bigs, I'm always going to think of Brandon Wright. Like, he took mid-range jumpers.
Yep.
He wasn't very good at it, but he did it. So
He did it.
I don't know.
He was 7th in PER until he got traded from us. Fun fact.
Dude, didn't he have like the greatest? Was it all time 7th greatest or 7th best PER?
It was just for that season. I don't think it was the greatest of all time. Maybe it was, but I remember looking at it pre Dwight Powell trade and seeing DeLon Wright up there.
Trade.
Well,
you think that's gonna go?
If I say the other name,
that's just gonna go unnoticed. What you just said.
If I say the other name, I'll get yelled at. If I say Dwight Powell, I'm the only one that's gonna be yelling at me.
If you say the Jay Crowder trade, it's okay.
Yeah. All right. So, Mavs draft. Most people on Mavs Twitter, most people that would probably watch this know that you are a Magic fan.
Unfortunately.
Is this correct? Okay, yeah, unfortunately. So, yeah, you love the Amway Center. It's your favorite place to be. Everyone knows that. So, what if I told you that you could keep Terrence or no, I'm sorry. I spoiled it. What if I told you you could keep Aaron Gordon? I told you could keep Aaron Gordon. You could keep
if you say this is going to involve, and this is just complete shot in the dark, Terrence Ross, I'm all in. No.
Okay. So you can keep Aaron Gordon. You can keep Nikolai. You can keep Markelle. You can keep Fournier, because I don't want to go anywhere near that.
Hey.
I said it. What if the Mavs offered y'all Brunson Wright and the 31st pick for Mr. The Boss, Mr. 24-1-1-1, Terrence Ross? What would you think about that? From both sides. From both sides. If it's DeLon Wright and Brunson plus 31 or 18.
Man, I want to say 31 isn't enough. Like, that's my only gripe.
Okay, so you can have Wright, Brunson, and 18 for Terrence Ross.
That's actually, you told me off air that it was going to be something. That's actually good. That's not a bad trade, because
that's what I'm here for.
Ross
Richie
is one of the best six men in the league.
Absolutely,
like,
Mr.
he should have been. He
24-1-1.
totally should have been a top 3 a year ago. In this last season, he was really good. He just didn't start hot, and it screwed him.
Yeah.
And obviously, he had a game in like February where he had like 24 points and literally nothing else. But like, he's a microwave, and he's a good defender, which nobody gives him credit for. I would be very happy with him here. I don't know how Orlando views him, because like, he's peaking right now, and that's not a bad deal. I think they'd be good with Brunson and Wright. And getting another pick would probably be helpful, considering, I don't know if you've looked at the end of their bench. Like, Magic fans, I've talked about this with a lot of Magic fans. It's just like, some teams that when it's garbage time, you're like, all right, hey, let's see what this young guy has. The Magic just have no excitement. They don't have, like, what you see in young talent, they play. That's it. Yeah. Like, they don't have young talent outside of that. So they need to keep, like,
even though they don't develop them, they still play them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you look at some of their recent guys, like Melvin Frazier has like barely ever touched a basketball court professionally, and he was an exciting prospect. He's just awful. I don't know. They need more young talent. Like if they could have the 15th pick and 18th pick, that's actually like perfect for them.
You think maybe if they got involved in like a 15th, 18th, they would move off the Terrence Ross contract, which to us,
No, they don't. I don't think they want to move off of it though. They're not desperate enough.
Oh, well, we are. We are. Okay, the Mavs should be very, very desperate to move off of the DeLon Wright and Dwight Powell contracts, but that's just me. Bibbs, what do you think about moving Brunson and Wright in 30 or 18 for Ross or for anyone else on the Magic? There is another trade I didn't want to even get into. I'm sure Bibbs already knows who that entails. It was discussed on our friend Dalton's podcast, and there's a Maxi Kleber Aaron Gordon debate, which I never understood because they're really not similar.
Wait, what?
And, yeah, so there was a Maxi Kleber versus Aaron Gordon debate on Mavs Twitter about 3 weeks ago. It was all over Mavs Twitter, and I don't really get it. Yeah, I don't really get it because the two are both very affordable players, and if you didn't play them next to each other, you would be very, 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 very silly because, you know, while one can cut to the rim, the other can stand behind the three. And it really doesn't matter which one you have. Like, yeah, you would prefer if Aaron Gordon shot a three and Maxi Kleber was cutting in, but also who is ever going to complain about Aaron Gordon cutting in while Maxi Kleber shoots a three? I'm not. But yeah, Bibbs, what do you think about the Magic's cap with ours?
So the first thing, excuse me, my initial thought was that they didn't need young point guards, but then I realized that I think Fultz is the only point guard they have under contract currently. So that deal actually would make a lot of sense for both sides. Ross is, like you said, a microwave like Hardaway, but he actually can defend better. He's a high energy guy as well. Like you'd pretty much be getting another Hardaway with better defense. You can look at his shooting numbers and say they aren't as great as Hardaway this year, but Hardaway wasn't as great as Hardaway this year. Before this year, shooting wise, I think it's the Luka effect. So I'd be all in on Ross. Again, we have to be in win now mode. Young guys are great, but our young guys right now need to be assets to get us vets that can contribute right away, who we know what we're going to get from. But yeah, I did avoid that Aaron Gordon, Maxi Kleber thing because I don't think it's a conversation worth having personally.
Yeah, it's really not.
I was actually surprised. I think so. Richard, you said you didn't catch that when it was on the timeline, right?
Dude, I have never been so happy to be out of the loop.
I avoided Twitter that whole day.
I've never been so happy to be out of the loop.
Yeah.
I was curious what your thoughts on it were because I know you're probably the only other person that watches a lot of Magic basketball, and
unfortunately,
I don't know. I just don't enjoy Aaron Gordon's game.
Dude, so Aaron Gordon, like, it's crazy because he's underutilized because the god awful, what's it called? Just log jam of big men with Isaac should be the 5, it should not be the 4, which is making it trickles down from Vucevic. It's not Vucevic's fault. It's just the front offices. Like he's the second best defender, and it's not a big gap between him and Isaac. I do think he's an unreal defender, better than Maxi, which is pretty hard to be. Just because he can guard 1 through 5 efficiently. I like his creating ability. He's just inconsistent. Like, I mean, he can go off for 20, 30 any given night. He just can't do it back-to-back nights. And, like, I don't know. He's unbelievably talented. He's more than just an athlete. Like, you know what I mean? Not in the political way. Yeah. But, like, he's he's a really just good player. He's just really inconsistent. Like, I mean, if you value someone who's consistently, like, and this isn't a knock on Maxi. Maxi's, before the bubble, consistently going to be 10 points, probably 3 and D. And he's not going to do much more, much less. Aaron Gordon could get you 20 points, but he could also drop 8 and still be, like, playing good defense. But I don't know. It's not close. I mean, the talent is just – it's a lot better for Gordon. He can just do a lot more. It's not a knock on Maxi, but, I mean, the trades I've seen for Aaron Gordon, he has a good contract, and people – they're Mavs fans like, here, just take Justin Jackson and DeLon Wright and 31st pick. I'm like, what? Like,
wait, you wouldn't do that?
God, dude, I got very upset this afternoon about it.
Yeah, so when that whole thing was going down, I knew Bibbs was going to be upset. I was just like, why would you try to make a world where they don't play together? Because it's kind of a lateral deal. If you trade Maxi Kleber, you're getting rid of your second or third best defensive player, and you're trading him from Aaron Gordon. Yeah, I would only trade for Aaron Gordon if I could still keep Maxi and Dorian somehow. You know, if you want,
just make Maxi the 5.
If you want like Seth, or maybe if you want Tim and you give me something else back, I'll give you that. But you're not getting all my defense because we need defense. We need to acquire defense. We don't need to subtract defense. But yeah.
So let me ask this about Gordon. You know, the Magic have a long history now of guys looking very meh on their roster and then going somewhere else and turning into borderline stars. Is Gordon another one of those type of guys? Because they are talking about, I think, from what I saw earlier, they are talking about potentially trading him. Like, could he flourish on another team?
Yeah,
like,
he does. Regularly? He needs a change of scenery. It's not anything against him. He does need a change of scenery for sure. Because don't forget, like, even with Jonathan Isaac out, some people are like, oh, he'll finally break out. Excuse me. He could break up with the Magic, but then they have Chuma Okeke coming in who plays the 3-4-5, and it's like they never stop. So I don't know. This front office has no attachment to him. They didn't draft him. I feel like he's gone. My dream for him though is Buddy Hield. I mean, that seems like the best.
Ooh.
Yeah, Kings fans like it. I like it. Therefore, I speak for all Magic fans.
This just took a wild turn that I was not expecting.
And not to keep going on the Magic, because I'm sure nobody actually cares about the Magic as much as I've made it out to be. But the other one I really want, though, is 15 in Gordon for Wiggins and 2. That's an absolute dream. Or 1 in 15. 1 in James Johnson for 15 and Aaron Gordon would also be nice, but I feel like that's such a far.
Okay, so
that's
I'm gonna ask this on my Northwest Division trade, and I've already asked you this, Richie, but I want to hear Bibbs' immediate reaction when I say this. So this has nothing to do with what we just talked about, and thank y'all for coming on and talking about the Southeast Division with me. We'll go ahead and get the outro after this, but and bear with me here, all right? Would y'all trade for the first pick Josh Okogie, Jared Culver, and James Johnson? Josh Okogie, the first pick, Jared Culver, and James Johnson for Kristaps Porzingis.
No. Hey.
I know your answer. I know your answer, no. Bibbs. Bibbs, am I crazy for thinking this is a serviceable trade? I'm crazy. Yes, I know Kristaps has more potential and could do more than all three of those guys combined. Because I don't really count James Johnson, but because you'd be making that trade for Culver, Okogie, and the first pick. So you think I'm a little crazy? I'm not completely crazy though.
I think it's completely crazy. I think you completely devastate our rotation. Take KP out, and we don't have a real complement for Luka on the roster.
Well, okay.
Who are you taking with that first pick?
Oh man.
Better question. Could anybody you take at the first pick match Kristaps Porzingis in 2 years?
No, but
oh my God,
Josh Okogie is the shit. All right. This whole trade proposal was just because I love Josh Okogie.
I would love him or Culver on the roster, but not at the cost of Kristaps Porzingis.
Well, okay. Never mind. I won't even get into that. We'll talk about that in a year. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna have that trade. I'm gonna ask a couple. I have a couple Wolves fans coming on for me, with me on that day. But for today, I think we nailed it. I think we knocked it out of the park. The Heat are obviously the hardest team to trade with, probably besides us, just because they have so many interchangeable parts. But I feel like we covered a lot of possible trades that could happen with the other teams. In the Southeast, because I don't feel like Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta has a lot of really young assets, and they probably would want to cash in, not Capella, But Herter, Collins, maybe even Cam Reddish is involved in a deal. Bembry could be involved in a sign and trade, which Mavs Draft and I were talking before. Like, I think that would be outstanding if we could somehow nab him. The Hornets, all I really want from them is Zeller. I would take a flyer on Monk, but I think he's probably got way too much, way too high of a ceiling for us to even possibly encounter. And of course, with the Magic, I want Vus. I think Vus is the third best center in the East. And him next to KP would be absolutely. What was that? What was that?
Wait, who's number two?
Bam. I have a note about Monk.
Embiid, Bam,
there are issues. I'm sorry. Who's up?
No, he said. So he said, "What are your top three?" I said, Embiid, Bam, and then Vucevic. Those are the top three in the East, and then Miles Turner is way down in fourth.
I forgot about Bam. I'm thinking power forward. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying, Bibbs?
No, I was gonna say, as far as Monk, he might not be as unattainable as you think. There are locker room issues with him and the coach.
I don't know if that would, improve too much with us.
Like, they've benched him. I think he got suspended for drugs or something last year. There's work ethic stuff, and I think with the coaches coming out of that Popovich tree, they don't have a lot of patience for stuff like that.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think Monk, if the right deal came along, I could definitely see them trading him this year.
Yeah, I feel like he needs a change of scenery so bad.
And what's his name? Graham is kind of taking over as that young guard, so people aren't going to miss Monk that much.
Nope. Not at all. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you to Bibbs and Mavs Draft, at Bibbs Corner and at Mavs Draft, for hopping on with me today. You can find Bibbs podcast. It's the Bibbs Corner podcast. And you can find Mavs Draft's podcast if you just look up Mavs Draft in your podcast or your Apple podcast section. I'm assuming it's the same for Spotify. I hope it is. Or you can go to mavsdraft.com and find him. Again, thank you both for hopping on with me. I wanted to get a little bit more sappy in the beginning. I'll just do it at the end. Yesterday, I talked to one of my heroes, Mark Followell, about my favorite player, Jaren Jackson. I just want to thank Bibbs and Mavs Draft, because if it wasn't for y'all, talking to me every day on Twitter 2 years ago, I would never even be here talking to you right now. And, the trajectory, the path I'm heading on is really, really exciting for me. And you two have been definitely some of the most supportive friends and acquaintances I could ask for. So I just want to thank y'all personally for hopping on with me today on my first episode of this podcast. So yeah, thank y'all.
Oh man,
appreciate it.
A little sappy.
Yeah, a little
thanks, man. Definitely appreciate all our interactions for sure.
Yeah. If you don't follow me at Edmund the Slayer, that's fine. I don't care. But you should follow at Bibbs Corner and at Mavs Draft all day long. They definitely have. They both kill it with any takes all day long, and they're definitely two of the most interactive people. They'll interact with you on the timeline, no matter what, because they have good takes. They don't have hot takes like me. They're not trying to trade the whole roster out for anything. But yeah, thank y'all for hopping on. Y'all got any last words? Anything you want to tell the people? No?
2021 draft gonna be good.
Oh yeah, LeBron James Jr. Yeah, we're hopping all aboard that bus. All right.